folks, good evening. How are you? I think I'm doing this correctly. We're using a different platform for this live stream, and Rick's going to be joining us in probably 5 or 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So it looks like we just got a couple folks in here. Paula and Michael. Ouch, that hurt. That was my shin, and then I rocked the camera. Paula Wells and Michael Harris. Welcome, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to see if I can get Rick to kind of shoot out the link today if we get a little bogged down in the discussion, but just wanted to kind of bring everybody up to speed where we're at, what we've been up to. We didn't have our live stream last week because we have had a house full of people for going on 3 weeks. So not used to this discussion stream. So 3 weeks ago, I think we told everybody in the live stream, my in-laws dropped in on a Friday. We did not know they were coming. Just showed up from New York, from Western New York. So Kimberly and I, we generally call Fridays our date night. And so we were out and about, and actually we had gone to look at a new camper. We were thinking about trading ours in. Well, while we were there, we're talking to the salesperson, and the phone rings, and it's Kimberly's mother. And the funny part is that Kimberly had been trying to contact her mother for 3-4 days and was not getting a response from her. So she was kind of getting a little bit worried. Well, then while we're sitting there at the trailer dealership or the camper dealership, her mother calls her and she says, well, hurry up and call me back. So Kimberly's kind of irritated by that because she hadn't called her back in 3 or 4 days, yet her mother's demanding that she call her back immediately. So long story short, my in-laws were sitting at our front gate trying to get into the property. So they showed up, and then that weekend, or I think they were already here, the following week on that Sunday, my son-in-law and my daughter, I see the Crafty Hobbit is on here, so that's no intention meant by I'm gonna put the Crafty Hobbit first and then my son-in-law. That way my daughter doesn't get all bent out of shape. That's a joke, Becca. So they showed up. We got the girls, their daughters, Abigail and Amalia, on Sunday, and then my daughter and her husband came out on Monday. So now we have my 2 granddaughters, my son-in-law, my daughter, and my in-laws, and they stayed with us through. I think they went home on Thursday or Friday, and then on Sunday, or they went home on Thursday, I think. Then on Saturday, my brother-in-law from Western New York showed up and pulling their 5th wheel. So we have had a full house now for going on 3 weeks. Been absolutely a blast. Most of it we expected. We did not expect my in-laws, so that's been kind of icing on the top. You know, we get along really, really well, and I mean they are like parents to me, and so it's been fun. It's been fun. But last Wednesday we called off our live. We didn't give a reason, but it was because my daughter and her husband and family were leaving the next day. So I did not want to spend my last night with them. We hadn't seen them in probably 8 months, 7 months. We hadn't seen them in that long, so I didn't want to spend the night before they left holding a live stream. So I canceled it, and but we're doing it tonight. So who else we got in here? Alicia Hall, welcome. Petway Family Farmstead, awesome. Alicia says, my great aunt and uncle used to pop in from Ohio with no warning. we've done it to each other. I mean, it's been probably 5 years or so ago. Lala and I were no, it's been probably longer than that. We had planned a trip to New York, and we didn't. This was right after my daughter had gone into the Navy. My son was spending Christmas with his in-laws, so it was just going to be Kimberly and I. So we decided that we were going to take a trip. So we flew to Buffalo, New York, at Christmas time. Drove down, surprised my in-laws. They had no clue that we were coming. Spent a few days with them, Christmas Day with them, and then the day after Christmas we left and drove all the way to Florida without ever touching the interstate, trying to drive as close to the coast as we could. If you've never done that, that is a blast of a trip, and it took us right out a week. It was a lot of fun. I'm getting to it, Becca. Goodness. So the Crafty Hobbit says, "Nice hat, Dad." So this was my gift from, I'm going to say, my daughter and son-in-law. I think my daughter kind of come up with the idea, and then my son-in-law, she said, actually went and bought it. So this is from Naval Base Kitsap. This is my newest hat for my collection, and I love it. I like, I wasn't so sold on this new brown uniform that the Navy has, but I like these new hats. They used to be that navy blue color. So
is it a brown or is that more of like a tan?
It's more of a tan. I know I'm sure the Navy has some weird name for it. What's the name for it, Crafty Hobbit? So we got My Alabama Farm Life. So welcome. Who else we got in here? We got like 9 folks in here. So welcome.
I just got done eating, Dad. Did you explain to him the bed and breakfast?
I have not. I was leaving that to you. Well, I kind of have. That's kind of the theme that Rick picked. We talked the other day, and he was trying to come up with a theme for this live. And I said, I don't know. I'm just going to kind of catch people up with what's going on. Well, that's kind of what's going on, is that we've been kind of hosting people now for going on 3 weeks. So this weekend, everybody's kind of shipping out. So we're actually going to go with my in-laws and my brother-in-law and his wife, and up camping in north of Augusta. I forget the park name up there, but we're going to head up there on Friday, spend Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and head back on Monday. So on Monday, we're coming south, and everyone else is heading back up to New York. So yeah, that's kind of the bed and breakfast thing. So we've been hosting people so Jim and Lee, that's my brother-in-law, they came with their own camper, so they're set up beside ours. So if you saw the picture that I posted on the community tab a few days ago, we had, how many trucks, Rick? Probably 6 or 7.
You had mine, you had Jimmy and Lee's, you had yours and Mom's, and you had Nina and Papa's, and you had Chelsea's car out there. And the big joke is because we're a big Ford family, and so you had a whole bunch of F-150s and then a 250 out there, and then you have Jimmy's Dodge 2500. And my dad said, "But I don't know who parked that. I don't know who parked that truck out there that had that little goat on the front."
Yeah, so, there's 5 trucks out there with a Ford emblem and one with a goat head, and I don't know whose that was. So Rachel Wallace, Dusty Goat really have a. They don't really have a. Or not, no, that's Crafty Hobbit. Rachel Wallace, Dusty Goat Homestead. Here y'all. Hope everyone's doing great. Rachel, we're doing good. Thank you for asking. Been following along with you guys as well. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple of months. We haven't talked a lot about it, but we are heading over to the Panhandle in October. I forget the actual date off the top of my head. I'll kind of talk about it more in subsequent lives, but we will be heading over there. Dusty Goat Homestead is partnering with another channel over there to monsters running around up here, Rick, to host a Gulf Coast meetup over there in October. So that'll be fun. That's the best month in Florida is October. It does not get It's not going to be crazy hot. It's going to be warm, not crazy hot, and the nights are cool. So perfect day. So we're actually putting up the camper and going over there where John Wallace from Dusty Goat had recommended a campground over there for Bear Lake, I think is the name of it. So we're going to be over there for the whole weekend. I think we're going over there on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and coming back on Monday as well. So we got some camping trips planned too. So
yep, I got goat duty.
so October 24th, Rachel says, is Gulf Coast Homesteaders Meetup. So anyone that wants to come, check out Dusty Goat Homestead. You can get that link. You do have to pre-register and get a ticket. The tickets don't cost nothing. They just need an idea of what the head count's going to be. But it's open not just to folks in the Panhandle, but throughout the Southeast. So folks in Georgia and Florida and Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, anyone in the Southeast that wants to drive over a beautiful part of Florida in October, it will not disappoint. I guarantee it. So Jesus is Lord. Welcome.
Florida's nice in October and fall and all that kind of stuff. The only thing that we don't have that your northern states do is everything's changing colors, and it's absolutely gorgeous to change colors, but we've kind of gotten away from the cold.
We got call people out, Rick. We got Down Under fella from Down Under. We got who else in here? Tina Ladybug, welcome. And Jesus is Lord, waving like Granny Clampett. Oh, welcome. Who else? Martin Midlife Misadventures. Hello, everyone. That is so awesome. Y'all are going to meet up. Hey, Martin Midlife Misadventures. I think you were on the premiere the other day when we were doing the second video in the series on the workbench that I'm building. So stay tuned with that, because I got kind of an important part today. I know I've alluded to it, but part of that whole workbench is going to have a router table built into it. So I got the router lift today, and I've already tested it out. It works fine with all my equipment. So that'll be a kind of a cool video too. That'll probably be video 4 or 5 in that series, but actually that'll be really, really cool.
Yeah, Alicia and Ed are going to Crooked River this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Gators don't change colors at the Lala. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Jules. Got some great speakers lined up. Gators don't change colors. Jules, what are you talking about? I didn't say hi to Jules, so just welcome, Jules. What else we got in here? So let me, you got anything you need to chat? You want to chat about right quickly?
Just the sheer amount of people that we have visiting the farm, and the amount of fun that we've kind of had hanging out with family. It's still, I've said it in the past, like just August is one of those months in Florida, and it's kind of funny. So my Nina and Papa, who are from upstate New York, where my mom and dad were, I don't think my mom was born there, but my dad was not born in upstate New York. He just kind of moved there. But he did all of his growing up in upstate New York. My Nina and my Papa are very cold hardy, but my Nina is not cold, or my Nina is not heat hardy at all. So she really doesn't like the heat, and this is the first time that I really remember. They don't come down during the summer. They usually come down, Thanksgiving time, and when it's a little bit cooler down here, and it's cold as all get out up there. And so I found out they were coming down, and they were going to be here the majority of August. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, you guys came down in the dog days of summer. It is awful down here.
They used to come down in the summer. They used to come down twice a year. They'd come down and stay for most of July and August, and then they'd come down again and spend most of November with us. And it's been several years since they've come down in July because it just gets too darn hot.
So that's what Jules was talking about, Dad. He said, Rick said they didn't have the colors of the North, and he was asking if the Gators change colors. No,
Our gators
The
don't.
Gators are that brownish green all year long.
Our gators do not change colors, but what do change colors are our lizards, and so they will change from brown to green to kind of an orangish color. Um, yeah, those freak out Lola in a big way.
You don't
So
like them either. You had like kids and stuff like that would hang them from their earlobes. Yeah, I wasn't one of those kids.
yeah, that was hilarious. So when Rick was really young, he would he would take the little green tree lizards that you see. I don't, if you're not from Florida, you might not know what I'm talking about. They're not the big chameleons that are like this big. They're just little green tree lizards. They're about this big, and they're not aggressive whatsoever. They'll run from you, but if you catch them, they will bite you. Now they don't hurt you. They're not poisoned whatsoever. They don't. You don't even kind of feel them biting you unless they get into some kind of, huh?
You're good. That was a melon.
Oh, unless you get into some soft area of skin. So when Rick was really young, he loved playing outdoors. He loved playing with bugs and frogs and in particular these little tree lizards. So he caught him a tree lizard one time, and for some reason, I don't know, he's probably 4 or 5 years old, thought it would be a great idea. Now they when you hold them, they open up their mouth to try to be really aggressive. But he thought it'd be a great idea to stick his tongue out and allow the lizard to bite his tongue.
Yeah,
But once they
it's called a green anolis corollis.
once they don't hurt when they bite, but once they clamp down, they do not let go.
Yeah, they got these
They
itty bitty teeth.
So he thought it would be a great idea to stick his tongue out and hold the lizard up, and it bit his tongue, and it would not let go. I had to come and I think I kind of probably killed it because I had to squeeze its jaws, which opened up the mouth, which allowed it to kind of release. But yeah, I don't think he ever did that again. He did put his finger in their mouth, and he'd walk around with the lizard sticking off of his finger, and it's like, yeah, Rick liked trying those new things. His sister did not do the whole lizard things.
Yeah, I know. Ed's told me before you don't do well with bugs.
See, Jules, they don't hurt. There's really no, they clamp down, but there's no teeth, and they really don't hurt at all. But some people will put them on their earlobes, and it's soft skin. If they bite down, that hurts, like your tongue, your earlobes, things like that. I've even seen people put them on the whatever you call this part of your nose, that soft skin, that's going to hurt. Yeah, but Rick thought he thought it'd be a great idea for one on his tongue. And it was just, if you could imagine a 5-year-old kid running around like a crazy human with this lizard sticking out of his mouth, clamped down on his tongue, and he can't bring his tongue in because the lizard will go in his mouth. It was darn funny. It was a sight to see.
Yeah, I think that's on Papa's side as far as the echo.
Let me try a different. Well, I can use the. Keep talking, Rick. I can try the.
So, I think Alabama Farm Life just came in. I don't think she's been in here the whole time. So, So Paula sent Papa a email or a text message, not an email. She sent him a text message, and we received some salsa a while back when Little Rick talks. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it's on my dad's side. But so Paula took a picture of a stove or a pot on the stove, and it had some salsa on it, and man, it looked so good. She said she was going to bring me some down whenever. Said she was going to bring me some down if it was approved by the hubby. So
Well, I got Kyle posted a picture on Facebook, so it appears that Kyle approved it. So it has been approved by the committee of one, and so we're kind of looking forward to that. So Bomber Steve is in here now.
Bomber Steve, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, so that'll be fun. So after everybody leaves this weekend, and I was kind of giving Lala some motivational talk, because they said you'll have 3 weeks of rest, because as soon as everyone leaves this weekend, then we don't have any guests for until I think the second week, or then her calendar kind of slows down until the second week of September. Then fair starts. So then she will be at the fair.
Fair starts for me Saturday, this Saturday.
Why?
Because Madeline's
Oh, the pageant.
Thing, yeah, her pageant is this Saturday.
Yeah. So Madeline, can we video that?
Yeah, I plan on videoing it.
So you're gonna see Madeline, much to everyone's surprise, has basically told us that she wanted to enter into the 2021 fair pageant. So to be in the running for the 2021 Baker County or Miss Baker County Fair, right? Is that what it's called?
Yes, I think she's having second thoughts now. So I had to kind of give her the dad pep talk, and I told her, I said, listen, I said, I want you to do your absolute best, and you're not going to give up. You're not going to quit. I said, because you ain't a quitter. And so she said, I don't want to quit. She said, I just don't know how interested I am in it. And because she's got to walk a certain way. And I told her, I said, me and Chelsea were working on her spins. And so I told Madeline, I what we call it when a girl kind of like pops her hip out to kind of be like a little flirty is calling it putting it in park. So I told her, I said, you might need to learn how to put it in park. And kind of trying to teach her how to that thing. And
she's doing a lot of makeup and her hair. And Madeline loves.
She's not used to that though.
Madeline loves looking nice, but she's not a fan of makeup. Her hair is really taking her hair. She got beautiful hair. But the extent of what she wants to do with it is basically put it in a ponytail so she can get up to the barn and work with her goats. So this is really kind of new to her, and everyone is very proud of her because it's so far outside of her comfort zone. That's what I say.
Frenchie?
It really, really surprised us when she said she wanted to do it because it's just not something we would have ever expected Madeline to say, I want to join the pageant. So we'll see. So we're unfortunately going to miss it this weekend because we're going to be camping.
Yeah, that kid, Paula says, that's great that she's getting out of her comfort zone and all on her own. Yeah, I mean, Madeline is Madeline. I mean, all of our kids are very special, but Madeline is one of those that she kind of like, she wants to do a lot of different things. And it's almost like sometimes you got to rein her back a little bit and say, hey, listen, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm not saying that, but also don't just have an egg in every basket either. And she will be very, very, very busy this fair. And the fair is always pretty busy for her. She's got a booth that she wants to work at with her church. She's got a goat. I think she's showing 2, Dad, right?
2 or 3, at least 2, possibly 3.
Yeah, so she's showing 2 or 3 goats. She's working in her church's fair booth. She's doing table setting, and she's doing the pageant. So yeah, it's she is very, very busy, and so that was kind of part of that conversation too. Is really kind of dial in and I told her, I said, if you don't like it, I completely understand if you don't want to do it next year, but
and she also does.
I did emphasize, I said, you're not giving up. And so I said, just do your best. And I said, if you don't do your absolute best, then that's the same as giving up. And she's trying really, really hard.
They didn't have the fair last year, but they had it 2 years ago, and that's the first time that she. How old was she? She was 10 at that time, right?
Her last fair was 10 years old. Yeah.
So that was the first time that she had ever shown an animal. It's the first time that she had actually entered one of the contests, even in the craft area of the fair, and she won uh, blue ribbons in both. So one was I guess it's called the amateur table setting. So it's the beginner table setting. She won that. So they basically set the table. Do they make a meal for that too, or is it just setting the table?
No, so how that works is they do the table setting, and it's a very formal or yeah, it's a very formal table set. So you'll have like
Five
I
forks,
don't even know. It's like
five forks,
five,
ten spoons,
yeah, something
all
like
that
that.
stuff.
So anyway, and then you have to put recipe cards out, which Chelsea has zero issue with doing. You have to put recipe cards out, so it kind of has to go along with what your table setting is. So like Chelsea absolutely loves Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's my kids have kind of fallen in love with that movie too. So if like say for instance they did a Nightmare Before Christmas themed table setting, then you would also kind of you'd call it like eyeball drop soup or something like that. And then you would come up with some type of recipe to put down, and it's kind of like what you would have with that. It's all themed,
Yeah.
and it's timed. I think they got 30 minutes, or maybe 15. I don't know exactly, but and then they go around and there's an age group, and then you'll have winner of that age group, and then you'll have overall winner. And she won winner of her age. She was the winner of her age group, and I think she came in second or third overall. And she
Yeah,
really, really enjoyed that.
that was the first time she'd ever entered a contest, and she
Hmm.
won the blue ribbon in that. So hold on one second before we go any further. So I'm watching this whole dialogue between Jules and Steve and Petway. Um, Apparently, Steve bit the dust in some live. Well, who's live with that? Because I'm going to have to go check that out. That sounds really funny. I hope you weren't hurt. That would make it funny, but when people do unexpected things on live streams, that generally um, makes me laugh. It's kind of like that's why I love America's Funniest Home Videos. All right, so she did the table setting, and then she also won. That was the first time that she'd actually shown a goat, and she ended up getting the blue ribbon and grand champion for showmanship with her boar goat, and that was 2 years ago. And unfortunately, the boar goat that she won with um, died about 3 months ago, 4 months ago, um, very quickly. And so she's going to be showing a different boar goat called Eclipse, which really is a beautiful goat. It's probably one of the prettiest ones on the whole farm. She's all white, black feet with a black dot on her back about this big, thus the name Eclipse. And then she's also showing, I think it's a Nubian milk goat. So she's showing both in the meat meat show with Eclipse. She's showing in the showmanship with Eclipse, and she is showing in the dairy class with Melody, the Nubian. So, yeah, it was on Pafford Homestead. It's a live that was on the weekend. So I'm gonna have to go check out that. That sounds. I hope you're okay, Steve. I love that saying, "Bit the dust." Down under fella. I hope you're all right, Steve. I hope you didn't injure yourself, but that does sound funny. So that's what's coming up. So that starts, I think, the second week of September, and then we've also got Paula Wells and her husband Kyle that are taking a 3-week trip through Florida, and at some point they are going to be stopping by and spending a couple of days or a few days with us. And so maybe it'll be, I'm not sure when. I don't think her and Kimberly have figured out the logistics of that yet, but Kimberly will be up at the fair, or Lala will be up at the fair, I think every day during that time. And we're going to have a booth up there with the goats that try to bring in some more folks for the channel, as well as kind of promoting the farm. And then so that's September. Then October we're going to be over at the meetup in the Panhandle, and then November we're actually going out to Washington State to see our daughter. So that'll be, so we got a busy fall coming up. Joe Huck, welcome. Jules said he was fine. Lala farm jumped up like a roof and kept yapping. I bet that was funny. So, several weeks ago, you guys, I've talked about it on our live. I promoted it by sharing it on our community page. There was not really a giveaway. It wasn't that, but it was Sandy from Suburban Homesteading, Wyoming, now Montana, or Arizona, was trying to get people to send her stickers so that she could then send those stickers on to a young man named Bubba, who was really had grown as a really huge fan of Sandy's channel, and he has some disabilities that he's dealing with. But Sandy, kind of put out the call, and she got a lot of stickers that were sent to her, and then she packaged them up into a box and sent them all to Bubba. So today in the mail, or I think it came in probably yesterday because Kimberly or Lala gave it to me today, I got just a beautiful letter from Bubba's grandmother. So I'm going to read this to you. So we just wanted to say thank you for your very loving and generous gifts that you have sent along to Bubba. Please know that your generosity is not only appreciated by Bubba and us, but also all of his friends up in Ohio whom he will share them with. How we thank God for Sandy, aka they call her, or Bubba calls her, Grandma Potato Head, because he was watching a video where Sandy was harvesting some potatoes, whose example of kindness, generosity, and sincerity went across the internet and opened up so many hearts. The flow of stickers and other items made us realize even more that in this dark, chaotic world, with all of the evil which abounds all around us, that truly there still remains people with so much more goodness. Like tiny lights glittering from various hilltops, these people of goodness spread hope across the world. That sentence, really kind of illustrates, how we try, I try, my family tries really hard to kind of be the light to people, and trying not to be negative. So we try really hard in our videos to be humorous, to be positive, and for that to come across, and I hope that it does. But to get, this letter meant a lot. And that's my challenge to everyone on here tonight. That's my challenge every day when I work with individuals, is to come across as kind of a positive light in their world, because God knows there's enough negativity flowing in every direction that, if you can find that one little place of respite during the day, where you reach a point of positivity where it's kind of like a haven from all things that may be judgmental, a haven from things that may be punitive toward you or negative toward you. It starts with you, to be that light, to be, what do they call it? Like tiny lights glittering from various hilltops. People of goodness spread hope across the world. So that's my challenge to everyone out there. And they signed it, Bubba's grandmas, Sister Bonnie and Sister Joan, and they sent us some hymns and some CDs. And so if you're watching, I don't know if they are or if they watched the replay on this. Sister Bonnie, Sister Joan, thank you very much. You've nearly brought me to tears with your letter. I am so glad and so thankful that Sandy put the call out for stickers, and more importantly, that Bubba appreciated what we have sent him, and I truly and honestly hope that he really enjoyed them. So, all right. What else we got?
Sorry, I was trying to find the portion of that video that Bomber Steve. Um, yeah.
Paula Wells, it does come across. There is way too much drama on some channels, and it is
Thank you, Joe Hook. Appreciate it.
nice to have a few channels who stay completely away from the drama. Paula, I detest drama. You know, if I kind of joke, I was talking before we came on live. I come home and you know I'm jonesing as I'm sitting here right now. My gut, which is doesn't have a lack of food by any stretch, is jonesing my dinner, which I have not yet eaten. And why would I be jonesing is because my mother-in-law, so earlier in the week we got some takeout, but it was barbecue chicken. And so we didn't eat all the chicken. So the chicken went in the refrigerator and it's been sitting there for about 4 days. And this is like smoked chicken. And she made fresh chicken soup today, and I have yet to eat it. But I can tell you that in exactly 24 minutes, I will be eating chicken soup. I don't even know how I got onto that thought. How did I get onto that thought?
You were talking about your stomach.
I know, but somehow I got onto that. You all are very kind and positive always. We appreciate you all for that. Well, Martin Midlife Misadventures, that's really kind of how we approach things. I mean, I avoid the drama. There's certain channels, and I'm not going to talk about
Paula said you're responding to her comment.
Huh?
Paula said you're responding to her comment.
Is that how I got off my train of thought?
Yes, probably.
I live in a drama-free zone, or at least I try. So Kathleen, when you again, you know, you said when you come over here to Jacksonville one time, you're going to stop by, so I'm going to hold you to that. You don't want to do it right now because it's just darn hot. But you know, when we first started our channel, there's a ton of channels that I still follow. I don't comment on a lot of them because it's just impossible to do that. When we first started, it was kind of like a core of maybe 10, 15, 20 channels. You can keep up with that, but once you get up to a point where you're at 1,000, 2,000, I mean we're moving in on 6,000 right now. It's just impossible to keep up with that, particularly given kind of how my work has ramped up, and so I have very, very little downtime, and so I haven't been able to leave as many comments with people, not nearly as much as what I would want to, but I get onto all of these channels from time to time. They still come up, and I might drop a comment or a note on one or two of them. But instead of commenting every week, it might be every month, or it might be every other month. But I still try real hard. But in the process of us not responding to other people have stopped responding to us. And I just found that, insightful into why and how, a lot of folks on YouTube kind of view relationships with other channels. And, I hope it's not perceived as calling the kettle black. I just don't have enough hours in the day because, here's one thing that I've made a commitment to my family, both Rick, and I've encouraged him to do the same, is that YouTube we do for fun. I've never and will never view YouTube as a job. And I think a lot of people view it as kind of a job and their primary way of making money. And this is just fun to us. This is how we kind of spread the word about what we're doing, and we promote our little farm. And if it weren't for YouTube, we many of the goats that we have sold over the last couple of years have come from relationships that we have started and formed on YouTube. Um, so it's fun to us, but that kind of perspective of really just trying to be kind and nice is really what our angle is. So, if you think you're going to tune in for drama, you probably need to go somewhere else because you ain't ever going to find it here. Because I will stop responding when the drama starts. When people start trying to become a YouTube personality, that's probably when I'm going to sever my relationship with them. Because that's just not what we do. That's not what we're about. We're just a little farm in Northeast Florida that, I'm kind of a borderline prepper. That's what started our whole thing, and I like to think my son's kind of moving in that direction as well, and so I do a lot of the content. Rick does most of the editing, and we just have a good time with it, and that's really kind of our goal. Southern Boy Prepper, agreed. Southern Boy Prepper is a great example of what I'm talking about. I used to go to their channel all the time. I just physically can't get to there. I was on there just a couple of days ago watching one of the videos, but I can't comment on everyone because generally I'm I'm sitting there and I'm watching or doing something, and I'm watching something else on my phone. So I'm always multitasking because again I have very little downtime.
Dad,
Yes.
I'm gonna get you off your rant. You want to see Bomber Steve fall?
Yes.
So,
So this is on Pafford's Homestead. Pafford
yeah.
Homestead Live.
Yep.
Hold on. Rick, I'm going to start a video this week and tag you in it, going to visit some historical sites around Bendigo that are connected to our gold mining history. That'd be awesome,
Most
man.
definitely.
That's my kind of thing there.
All right. So I don't know how well it's going to show up with us streaming and doing this, but
All right, so this is the first external live premiere of Bomber Steve falling on his butt. And he smiles all the way down.
I love it.
So when I was doing some work, Lala wanted. It's been raining, and this might be literally the first day it has not rained in 3 weeks.
It rained in Rayford. So
Today,
yeah.
the day is not over yet. The day is not over yet. So it is so wet and nasty out in the goat pastures that we've literally we brought them in really tight to the barn because try to get them out of the mud. And so Lala says, can you take, Rick had brought some pallets home to me, and that's what we were building Madeline's bed with. There was a previous video of that, and but I still had 6 or 7 pallets left. So Lala says, can you take those pallets and basically build a bridge from one side of the paddock to the other where they come in and out of the barn, because that's where the water drains around the front of the barn. So I said, I can do that. And, then I took some sheets of plywood that I had that I can temporarily put down on that. So I just kind of screwed them in there. So as I'm doing that, and everyone is sitting there, everybody's standing there watching me put this down. So Rick is there, Lala's there, my father-in-law is there, my brother-in-law is there. Everybody's standing there supervising me while I'm putting the screws into the pallets. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but it was kind of like, I don't know if they're still a thing. Are Weebles still a thing, Rick? They still sell Weebles? You know what a Weeble
I'm like
is?
multitasking on the computer. Yes. And I don't think so. I don't know.
So a Weeble, if you don't know, were these things. I mean, there were toys when I was a kid that were larger on the bottom, kind of like me, and more narrow on the top. So it doesn't matter. So when you hit the top, they kind of flip over, but then they upright themselves. You couldn't tip them up. You couldn't tip them over.
They don't make them out of wood anymore. They don't make them out of wood anymore. What they do now is they make them they're like plastic,
Yeah.
and so and then they got like a heavy lead or something like that in the bottom.
So
That
Paula
fits.
says Weeble Wobble. So at least, so Paula knows what I'm talking about because that was the commercial. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. So Martin Midlife Misadventure says yes, they still sell Weebles. All right, so now you know what a Weeble is. So here's the story. So everybody's supervising me. There's like 6 people watching me work while I'm working, and all of a sudden, I kind of like I'm like bent over, and all of a sudden it's like probably because of my belly imbalance. I just kind of lose my balance, and it was like this slow motion roll where I roll backwards, and then I'm like, now I'm sitting on my butt on this pallet on a piece of plywood, and then I just kind of righted myself back up. So yeah, that was my Weeble Wobbles experience from this last weekend. Ed Hall says Weebles wobble, they don't fall down. Jesus is Lord, but they don't fall down, Paula. Weebles wobble, they don't. Yeah, so you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was my.
Yeah,
I took
Ed's old like you, so he knows what those old toys are.
I think I've got Ed by a few years.
You do, but not that many. Surprisingly enough, he has a lot more. A lot more spunk left in him.
So Southern Boy Prepper, I took a dive while pulling my trash can to the road. Heel caught the trash can, no stopping. Function, this is another example. So I backed my truck up. I'm at my office. This just happened today, this morning, and so I'm in this professional office complex, and I pull in, and there's this place where everybody and their brother is now getting tested for COVID. So it's this lab that's in this complex. On a normal day, there might be 2 or 3 people in line first thing in the morning out there ready to get tested. Well, for the last 2 weeks, no kidding, there's 50 people in line. Maybe there's been mornings I think there's probably 60 people in line. Well, with all of these people in line, the parking lot is absolutely filled. So I get there and I can't, now they've taken my parking spot, which has already irritated me. So now I got to pull out into the regular parking lot, and there's this island out there where a tree has got mulch that's probably this high, goes up and goes around this tree. So in my head, I didn't plan out the logistics well when I backed into this parking spot. So I swing open my door and I step down, and now I've got to climb up this mulch that's up around this tree, probably 18 inches, to be able to even get out of my truck. And so I took one step. So now I'm probably 18 inches away from my truck. And for some reason, my body habitus, what it looks like, again, I think this is the Weeble Wobble principle. I just kind of started falling backwards, and I fell right back into my seat. And I immediately look around, see if anybody's watching. Nobody saw me that I'm aware of. But that was another fun experience. So I think I really have to lose some weight because I've had 2 Weebles wobble incidents in the last week that I think if I didn't have my belly, I would not have been victim to.
Hey, Suburban Homesteader, how are you?
Sandy, I did a little call out for you. I got a letter in the mail today from Sister Bonnie and Sister Joan regarding the stickers, and really, really appreciative. Nearly brought me to tears. Talking about how everyone needs to be, I think, what they call it, like tiny lights glittering from various hilltops. The people of goodness spread hope across the world. And I said to everybody, it all started with your willingness to kind of improve Bubba's day. So thank you for that. So Rachel Wallace says, I hope you guys have a great night. Gotta get the kids in line and ready for school tomorrow. See y'all soon. Rachel, good night. Talk to you later. What else we got in here? My farm life. My dog wrapped around my legs in the driveway and down I went. I've had that before, where the dog, you got them on a leash and they just kind of wrap you up like you're cattle being being Russell, and you got your feet, your body goes one way, your feet go another, and you got nowhere to go but down. I've never had that happen.
I bet that would probably happen with Boone.
Yes, if I were to
Because
try to
Boone's
put,
not a walker.
yeah, if I tried to put Boone on a leash, that would probably not end well. So here, that's an interesting topic. I'm just trying to make things up now. Make things up.
Kyle said that Paula's chunky salsa is going to be a hit. I am looking forward to it, sir.
Well, Kyle, Paula sent me a picture and said, pass this on to Rick because something like he was the inspiration for the chunky salsa. And so I passed it on to him. Then I shared each other's so that I don't have to be the interim communicator. So now they can communicate about chunky salsa directly with each other. So I was talking to you about all this rain that we've been having. I mean, it has been nonstop. I can't even go out into the side pasture or side yard out here without putting my truck into four-wheel drive. That's how wet it is. And because you will get stuck. We even got the side-by-side stuck and had to put into four-wheel drive. So I'm, shoot, where was I going with that?
Man, the heat is getting to you.
Yes, it is. I'm thinking about chicken soup. That's my problem. I'm thinking about the chicken soup.
It started with Paula.
Darn. I'm like absent-minded tonight. I'm really hungry. No, it's been really, really. Oh, I know where it was. All right, so it's been really, really wet. So about 3 weeks ago, I noticed with Boone. Now Boone's the black lab that you see in most of our videos. Boone he's out with us whenever we're outside. He's out with us, and his hair started falling out, and it started getting this really kind of flaky, almost like dandruff kind of underneath the skin. And then he started getting bald spots on the skin. And I'm like, this is really, really weird. And so Lala took him up to the vet to have him looked at. And she said, the vet said, we have had nonstop train of people bringing their dogs in with these same exact symptoms. And it's a fungus from dogs that stay chronically wet, outside dogs. And so he's been on it. Yeah, I mean, he literally, as soon as he goes out in the morning, he immediately goes into the pond. I mean, his first swim of the day is usually about 6 o'clock in the morning. Then he comes back in, and because he's soaking wet, we have to put him into the kennel wet. He stays in the kennel, and then as soon as he goes out, does his business, goes back into the pond. So he stays wet most of the day by choice. And when he's not wet, he's outside running around in the rain, stomping around in the yard, and he just stays a mess. But he's been on an oral antibiotic, an antifungal, and a steroid for the past week and a half, and he's going to be on it for another week and a half. So I guess the moral is
the day that. So what you're saying is the day that I came over and I was playing with sticks in the pond with my two dogs, and then Boone jumped in. That probably wasn't something that he was supposed to be doing.
If they dry out, it's fine. It's just he doesn't dry out, and then the rain comes every day, and every time he goes outside, he's splashing water on him. So it's just not been good. So Petway, MB Heritage, welcome. MB Heritage is another one. Petway is another one. I used to be able to find the time to go on their lives and visit all of their videos all the time. And, they're among my favorite channels. And again, it's one of those that you just have to find time to go visit. And, when we first started this channel, my work was really, really slow because it was in the midst of the shutdown. And so know that I'm watching. I just can't comment on all the videos. So MB Heritage, welcome. What else we got here? So that's about all that I had. One thing, I was kind of talking about it earlier, and I kind of got a video idea earlier. If you guys have been watching the series that I'm doing in the midst of right now. We've got I've been doing the workbench, or it's a router table, radial arm saw, and miter saw combo. And so I got some of the miter tools for that today. And there's all kinds of videos online about different router lifts. If you even know what I'm talking about, it's basically the router is kind of molds wood on the edges, and but there's this one plate that there's all kinds of videos on YouTube about it, of how horrible it is and doesn't line up with nothing. And so I'm going to be doing a video on that, because that's just a bunch of bunk. Not accurate, not true, lines up perfectly. You just got to know what you're looking for. So that was interesting. So that's coming up. Paula says, what was that? That thunk was me hitting the table.
Rick joined.
Sandy says, how?
This is a portion of it. If you guys haven't seen it, this was him actually making the cabinets themselves before the top actually went on. So.
Yeah, so the router table is going to go kind of just to the right of the radial arm saw, the one in the middle. Sandy says, how are the goats you took to Florida? I think it was Florida. Yeah, that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier, Sandy. The problem that we're having right now is everything is so wet, and that's one thing goats don't like is a wet environment, because it really predisposes them to developing parasites and worms. We got a good friend of ours who lost a goat last week, and we've had some that we've kind of pulled ours in and are pretty close to what's called dry lotting, which means that we are fully giving them their feed, whether that be grain or mostly grain and some straw, just until this. The positive side is it's really grown the grass, the weeds, and all that stuff are all huge. We just can't get the goats out in there to kind of eat them, because the fields are just way, way, way too wet. So coming along. Anything else, Rick?
Nope. Just I'm gonna keep putting out videos.
There's gonna be another video if we go camping this week. I think I told everybody we traded in our 31-foot travel trailer 2 weeks ago for technically it's a 31-foot fifth wheel, but it's technically only 29 feet, so it's a little bit shorter than what we had, but the cab over makes it about the same length. And so I'm going to do a video of that.
It's bigger.
It's technically bigger, but it's on paper it's shorter.
So what y'all had was the toy hauler. And right. So it was very, very open in the back, and it had to be open because, that was where you guys were, supposed to be hauling toys and stuff. And, hello. Oh, I got you. No, honestly, Petway, man, it's been so busy, I completely forgot. But I will try to remember to reach out to you. But no, the back end was just so open, and it was used. You could use it for multiple things, but it had to stay open because of the toy hauler. And now it seems like there's a lot more usable space back there.
So we're gonna take it out the first time. So I wasn't even the first one to use it when we got it that same weekend. That same weekend that we got it, our daughter, the crafty hobbit who's on here, was the first one to sleep in it. So we're going to be taking it out. This weekend. So I'm going to do a video of that, kind of a review of that, kind of how that works. So keep tuned for that. Rick's got some stuff coming out, and so Madeline's pageant this weekend, and we got one of our little Nigerian dwarf goats. We haven't talked Friday. They haven't really talked at all about those, and so we finally got all the video done for that. So that's coming out. So that'll explain what we're doing with that. So lots coming up, lots happening, and again, we so much appreciate all of y'all coming in, supporting us, and as Sister Bonnie and Sister Joan said, make sure that you are like a tiny light glittering from various hilltops. Be that kindness in the world, treat others nicely, and kind of like we end every one of our videos, make sure, folks, to treat others as you would like to be treated. Good night, everybody.